Hey guys, one of the reasons why self-love is so important is because when we don't love ourselves, it comes out in our behavior. One of the reasons why I did not like arguing with family members is that you tend to say things and you can't take those things back. I once had an argument with a relative, and the more I thought about it, it was just the silliest thing. And I'm like, why am I even having this conversation? So I walked away. And, a lot of comments and, calling names or what have you. Sometimes when a person is standing alone, they can't argue by themselves. But at the same time, sometimes they need that silence to get a grasp on what it is that they need. Because having that argument, they're not getting what they need. When you love yourself, you are nurturing yourself. Step out and just take that walk. You're walking with God. You're having that talk with God. You're saying, you know what? Regardless of what, I know that this is something that I need to do. I need to have this conversation with God. Years ago, I had gone someplace, and I had gone someplace with a guy I was dating. And we went to a graduation, and then we sat down and we ate breakfast. And, we had, this is how I know I really did not know this person, but I thought I did at the time. But there's so many different levels of knowing a person, But at the time, I really thought that, this was a true prospect. There was so many flags. Oh my goodness, so many flags. But we had gone to visit the family members, and we had, family will definitely tell on you too. So we're visiting his relatives, and one of his relatives, there was three of them, and they were cackling. They could not stop laughing in the corner. And it was annoying after a while, because I'm like, what the heck are they laughing? I want to laugh too. I want to, see what the joke was. And one of the cousins, they voted who was going to come and approach me. So this one cousin, she came, and she was talking to me, and she was just like, we're kind of scared to meet you, because, he doesn't usually bring, people around. He's got a track record. I'm thinking, oh, a track record? What kind of track record, She was just she was really freeing herself. So she said, and then we were kind of nervous because, this family's kind of crazy, but, then we thought about it. He the craziest one. And she burst out and laughed. And it made me really look at him even more so. But then, it went further. And, we were at his mom's house, visiting or what have you. And, it was a road trip, no big deal. But coming on this road trip and getting to meet the family and the extended experience really woke me up to so many different levels of this person. And so he was going out with one of his cousins, and they were cutting each other's hair, and they were joking or what have you. And he called himself putting me to bed so that he could go out to a place where women take their garments off. That's a nice way I could put that, but I'm sure you'll draw the blank and connect the dots at this point. So I couldn't even understand, because this was something that we'd never discussed. I didn't understand why he would want to do that. It just was really kind of uncomfortable for me, because I just really wanted a reason as to why he wanted to do this. So before that, we had gone to my brother's house, and his girlfriend said, yo, her boyfriend smokes, and at the time, he smoked marijuana, and I had no idea that he did that either. It was just like one thing after the next. So when we made the road trip, this was like a finality to me. I knew that this trip was coming to an end, and that we were not going to be together, because there were too many strikes and too many things that were just basically just red, okay, like the color red, okay. Too many alarms were going off. So it was at this point that, then when we went there, we were supposed to visit one person's house, one of the baby mothers. And I didn't realize there was more to the story. It was like more than one child. It was like one thing after the next. And I said, when he tried to put me to bed like I was a child, I knew that was definitely the final straw. Like, I felt like, you get one, you have no more strikes at this point. I mean, I'm trying to work with you, but come on. And it was at that point where I made the decision that I was leaving. And I left. And I drove back home. And, of course, he was like, he called a few times, but I didn't answer the phone. And his mother called me about 2 weeks later. And when I answered the phone, I said, hello. And, I was surprised to hear her voice. And she said, I just have one question for you. And I said, sure, what is it? And she said, why'd you leave him here? I don't know how much more confirmation you could possibly have when a mother calls you and tells you that. And I told her, I said, I thought you're his mother. Who better? Because I could not deal with him any longer. And I knew that if we rode back in the car together, he was not going to leave me alone. And I certainly didn't have any more within me to deal with. It was like strike after strike. And I wanted to make sure that wherever he landed, he was going to be in a safe place because, he no longer had his own place. And it was just a lot, for anyone to take on. When you know that you have had a lot that you've had to deal with and you know that you cannot handle anymore, the worst thing you could possibly do is take on a responsibility that you can't take on. I'm not the fighting person. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I don't want to do any of that. Now, if we have a disagreement and we're trying to talk about things and we're trying to, understand, that's one thing. But if I'm dealing with a person who is pulling me down and I do not have the capacity to pull myself back up, I'm a survivor if I'm nothing else. And I love myself if no one else. But of course I do love so many people, but that's beside the point. But we need to be able to come to an agreement where I'm not going to have to keep finding out so much that you did not tell me, that we did not have a talk about, that we did not explain. There's some things that, we're not going to discuss and we'll find out gradually. But there was entirely too much. And when you talk about children, I said I've dated guys with children, and that's not a problem, but I need to know. If you can't tell me how many children you have from the beginning, then that means that you are uncomfortable with that. That means you're not supportive of those children. I need to know that you're loving and supportive of them because they are an extension of you. I'm not an extension of you at this point. We're getting to know each other. We're working on friendship, moving further into something more. But we can't move further into something more if you don't even love your children. They are a part of you. If you don't respect them, if you don't love them, then you need to have someone who does. But you can't be that person to another person if they don't even take on part one. When you love, let me tell you something, love is a strong word, but it's very easy to do. When my mother passed away, I saw love in everybody's face, and it has extended. There was a guy who approached me on the bus the other day to tell me what he was going through, and he was thanking me because I spoke up on his behalf because they were trying to arrest him for just sitting. And he'd been sitting there, we were waiting for the library to open. And he was just sitting, and, I was sitting there, we had a little light conversation, but he didn't do anything wrong, but someone was trying to prosecute him before he even had an opportunity to even speak. And he did say good morning, and she took it offensively, and she wanted to call the police. Sometimes a person will wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and they will treat others unjustly. We have to take a time. If you're not feeling well, if you don't feel you're ready for the world, maybe you need to stay indoors that day. Or maybe you need to take a walk and enjoy that walk, that journey before you go into work. But we are all going through our own experiences. And I'm going to tell you, life has been a challenge, if nothing else. But you don't give up. You look at these experiences and see them as a strength. You see them as something that is somewhat of an obstacle, but this obstacle is going to help you get over that hurdle and teach and help another person get over that very same hurdle. You don't forget where you came from, because that is what's going to help you get through it. What I went through as a child has helped pave the way for me to become a better person, and has helped me to get through the hurdles that I'm now going through and that I've been going through. I don't hate anyone, and I don't get upset over the experiences I've had even in the past. When I broke up, when I separated from that person, I feel like I left them in a better place. And you know what? Because I walked away, they became a better person. Because I walked away, it helped them to see that, you know what? They were, codependent. And all of us have found ourselves in codependent positions at one point in time or another. But it helps us to be stronger. Each experience. You have an argument with a person, you still learn something from that argument. You still learn something from that person when you sit quietly. In my silence, I have learned a lot in my journey with even walking through gardens. I'm learning so much more about nature. And we have to look at our own human nature and see that everything is not just about one person. It's about us. It's about we. It's about what it is that she's going through. Can you help her? Can she help you? Don't take on more than you can handle, though. Because if you take on too much, it might break you in a whole nother way, and you can't do it. You know that this person is a part of your past, and they come back and talk to you. Honey, we've had that experience, and it's time to move forward. You move in your direction, I'm moving in my direction. We were with each other for a reason. We've learned from those experiences. Now it's time to move forward. Learn from the past so that we don't have to make the same mistakes. We are going to have this journey through 2024, and this journey is going to be a greater one. You know why? Because it's so lovely being you.